Welcome. Once again, thanks for another episode of the Teddy Mac Show. Now, here we go for another one of Joe Biden's temper tantrums. And we're going to wind down his presidency with a recap of his circus that he's been having going on for the past 4 years. And the lunacy and all the just crazy crackpot weirdo stuff they have been going on. You know, this is ridiculous. We're going to jump right into this. Thanks for showing your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Show your support for the channel. Let's get into this.
Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just weeks before the election, the Biden administration is trying to ram through yet 6 more federal judges without adequate vetting from this committee. There are 6 witnesses on this committee. Each senator is given 5 minutes of questioning. That counts up to 50 seconds per judge. They're doing this because the record of these judges cannot withstand scrutiny. I'm going to limit my questioning just to a couple because that's exactly what the Democrats want, is no scrutiny of radical judicial nominees. I'm going to start with Judge Brindisi. Judge Brindisi, should biological men be able to expose themselves to unwilling women, including underage girls?
Senator, that's not a view I share.
So your answer is no.
Senator, I want to be somewhat careful because there are a number of cases that are working.
Is your answer yes? You said that's not a view you share.
It's not.
Then why, just a moment ago, Senator Blackburn was asking you about, as a congressman, you were a congressman from 2019 to 2021.
That's correct.
You were original co-sponsor of and you voted for an Orwellian-named extreme piece of Democrat legislation called the Equality Act. The Equality Act mandated that biological men could play in women's sports, could go to women's bathrooms, could go to women's locker room. The women were not asked. The women were not asked if biological men could go into their locker rooms and disrobe with them. You sponsored it and voted for it. You just said a minute ago you didn't agree with men exposing themselves to unwilling women. If you didn't agree with that, why did you sponsor and vote for legislation that would mandate that women be victimized like that?
Senator, it's been a number of years since I sponsored that legislation, and I do understand
It's been 4 years.
that there is a...
It's been 4 years.
I understand, Senator. For the last 2 years, I have been serving...
I'm not asking about the last 2 years. You were a member of Congress. You sponsored it and voted for it. Why did you believe women and girls don't have a right to be free from harassment, to be free from biological men disrobing in front of them without the women or girls having any right to say anything about it or to protest anything about it? Why did you vote for that?
Senator, my recollection of the legislation is that it would prevent discrimination based on gender.
Your recollection is contrary to the explicit text of the statute. Are you fond of ignoring the text of statutes?
Senator, as a sitting judge now, and if I'm fortunate to be confirmed as a district court judge, I will follow statutory.
But you didn't when you were a congressman. You sponsored it, you voted for it, and by the way, to be clear, for some reason under Joe Biden, the state of New York really is getting hammered with judicial nominees. Another judicial nominee for New York was Judge Sarah Netburn, who on a similar issue ruled she had a serial rapist in front of her, a 6'2" man who was a serial rapist who decided to identify as a woman, and Judge Netburn ordered that 6'2" man to be incarcerated with women. Do you think the women in women's prisons have any right, and in particular a right not to be incarcerated, not to have a cellmate who is a 6'2" serial rapist?
Senator, I can assure you, if I become a district court judge, that I will follow.
But my question is, do those women have any rights not to be incarcerated with a 6'2" biologically male serial rapist?
Senator, I think every person has the right to feel safe, and I can tell you...
Then why did you sponsor and vote for legislation that did not protect that right and violated that right?
Senator, that was a time when I was a policymaker, and I do understand that there...
Okay, so those are your policy views. By the way, so do you have any regrets for sponsoring the Equality Act? You said apparently you didn't read the statute, you didn't know what it said. Do you have any regrets for sponsoring legislation that would force girls and women to be subjected to harassment from naked biological men? Do you have any regrets for that?
Senator, during my time being a legislator in the House of Representatives...
That's a yes or no.
I sponsored thousands of pieces of.
Okay, so you have no regrets about that. All right.
Weirdos. Weirdos, man. Straight up weirdos. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand why we got to keep dealing with this dumb stuff. But you know what? The time is almost over. The weirdo stuff is almost over. Now check this out. You know, Joe Biden and his little temper tantrum. Let's check out Joe's his most recent temper tantrums on his way out the door, burning up your tax dollars. And I mean, I hope you people understand. I just want you to keep understanding that all the stuff that Joe Biden is doing, all this money he's spending up before he go out on foolishness and just burning up the budget, this your money. This our money. This ain't Joe Biden's money. Joe Biden is trying to burn the house down on his way out. So basically, he giving the whole United States, or everybody in the United States, the big middle finger, the big F you finger on his way out the door. And you all think this was a great president? Man, look, we dodged a major bullet by not dealing with Kamala. Straight up. I don't care what nobody say.
2 weeks to go until Joe Biden's national nightmare of a presidency is over. And the big guy isn't hiding the fact that he's bitter and angry at the world that shunned him. But it's really no wonder why he's upset. His legacy's in tatters. Hunter's foreign cash pipeline's about to dry up. His entire party blames him for Democrats' November thumping, with Kamala certifying those results in Congress today. And the Trump train's about to undo every one of his policies. So now Biden's throwing temper tantrums, lashing out at his successor as a threat to democracy and snapping at reporters, lecturing them about his 50-year resume in global affairs. Watch.
Do you still believe he's a threat to democracy?
I think what he did was a genuine threat to democracy. I'm hopeful that we're beyond that. My being the oldest president, I know more world leaders than any one of you ever met in your whole life. And I know them. I know how they think. Not a joke.
Meanwhile, Democrats and their media cheerleaders are swearing up and down that they never misled anybody about Joe Biden's.
Man, look at this. Man, look at this weirdo, man. I mean, I hate to, be like this, but look at this. Look at this clown circus that Joe Biden has got himself surrounded with. Look at these people. Man, you know what? January 20th can't come fast enough.
Obvious decline.
What do you say to Americans who feel as though you and other top Democrats misled them about President Biden's mental acuity?
No. Look, we didn't. And he's a patriot. He's a great guy. And when he stepped down, he did it on his own because he thought it was better not only for the Democrats.
Let me just say this. Chuck Schumer, if you ever see this video, you probably won't. If you ever see this video, you are a slime ball. I don't know how you wake up and look at yourself in the mirror each day. You are the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen in my life, man. I hope to goodness that Trump, his administration, finds something to lock you up for, because you are just you've been getting away with too much effery for too long. Somebody need to pull your coattail right about now. It's time for you to start coming to the light.
Democratic Party for America. We should all salute him. We should all salute him.
I was very surprised that when you asked the question about mental acuity, he didn't more forcefully push back. The question on the table is the president all the way there? And the answer is unequivocally yes.
But every day is a new reminder of how unfit Joe Biden was for the presidency. He can't even get happy birthday right.
Happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
All right, Greg, welcome back.
Thank you. And I would like to say happy January 6th, everyone, or Harold, as I like to call it, Jan-teenth.
We missed you. Your facelift looks great.
Thank you. I know. Everybody bought the story that I had a kid, right? But I look 10 years younger. It's amazing.
How do you see things now? January 6th, new year, new Greg. What's up?
Well, first of all, watching like Schumer defend himself is hilarious. But remember, those people that are questioning him were in on the hoax. The media was complicit. So in a way, it's like watching one Menendez brother pointing his finger at the other. The media didn't ask these questions until it no longer mattered when the election was over. They waited until their side lost, and now they're doing their job. It's like, it's kind of frustrating watching comedians now, whether it's the Golden Globes or CNN's New Year's Eve, doing Biden jokes. Now that there's nothing edgy about it. My guys were doing jokes about the administration and about Joe Biden when it mattered. They lost friends, they lost jobs, but they still took the risk because they wanted to be true to their audience. They didn't lie to their audience. And meanwhile, you see what's happening around the world, which is amazing. So Canada is tossing out Trudeau. Mexico is happily prepping for deportations. Zelensky is embracing MAGA in that latest interview. England is finally facing their reckoning over the mass rapes. This Trump effect is real. And and going back to the hoax thing, the Trump effect is defined by citizens embracing what they see versus what they're told. Everything that the government told us went counter to what we saw, our lived experience. We knew Biden was not well. We knew the border was worse. We knew crime was beyond control. But the government said, no, believe us. No, we figured it out. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that the right had experienced debunking the hoaxes. Democrats weren't doing that. They weren't debunking any hoaxes because they were behind them. But not only did the right debunk these hoaxes, they taught others how to do it. That's why none of this stuff could fly anymore.
Welcome back, Greg.
Well,
You
thank
haven't
you.
missed a beat.
Oh, thank you.
Just as surly as he always was.
Mm-hmm.
Dana,
Yes.
Biden not
How's
really.
my facelift look?
You look great. You look great.
I was thinking about it. Next year.
There's always next year.
Don't do it.
Don't
do it.
It takes a long time to recover.
Yes.
That's why you needed all those days.
Yes. All right.
I counted them. There was 46 days.
I'm the new Mayor Pete.
Dana, not a graceful exit by Joe Biden lashing out at reporters.
Yeah, and a couple of things. What did all of those friendships get us? Where did all of these great relationships with the world leaders lead? We have more problems in the world that Trump will inherit and is going to have to fix. We have more problems in North Korea. Of course, this is not just a Biden thing. Anytime Kim Jong-un wants attention, he'll send a missile across the sea, and then the South Koreans are going to have to try to get us involved. But really, I wonder, if it was just knowing world leaders and having friends all over the world that was like the measure of your success, then okay, maybe, but that's actually not what we're talking about here. The other thing is listening to people defend themselves about Biden's condition makes Baghdad Bob look like a realistic character. And if you don't remember him, kids, look it up. Baghdad Bob is really hilarious kind of guy. But when Schumer says Biden himself realized that the better thing to do for the party was for him to drop out, that was disproven last week by who? By Biden himself, because he did interviews in which he said, I never should have dropped out. I'm the only one who could have beat him. And he's going to go out of the presidency believing that he could have beat Biden again. So none of that is believable.
Happy, what is it, Greg?
Jan-teenth.
Jan-teenth, Harold.
Happy New Year.
Joe believing that he could have beat Trump. That is the biggest delusion I've heard in my life. It's becoming more and more apparent who dropped that bag of coke in the White House, because he got to be on something to be thinking something like that.
Happy New Year.
Happy, it's good
That's
to have
when
you
we
back.
free the
Good
Sixers.
good to be back. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're starting to look more and more like a great dad, and let's see if you begin to sound like one as
Probably
we
not.
get. I think today President Trump has every reason to celebrate You think about 4 years ago where we were, you have two things. You have President Trump elected again, and you have an acceptance of the results, and a Congress with Vice President Harris, who lost the race, overseeing the proceedings. I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with the outcome, and I'm happy that this is a continuation of the peaceful transfer of power, and she's a part of it. Two, I'm done with Joe Biden in this regard. I think the race is over. So talking about him in many ways for Democrats, I hope he doesn't mistake what I'm saying. I think he is more accomplished, and he will be thought of differently in 4 to 8 years. And if he has any doubt about it, I'd say to the president, who's still the president, think about what people were saying on this day 4 years ago about Donald Trump. You're unlikely to be elected president again, but you certainly have an opportunity for that legacy to be thought of in a very different way. But he should not mistake himself either. People thought he was going to be a transitional president. People thought he would probably stay 4 years and move on. And then when he couldn't come up with a great set of ideas and a great vision for what the country could look forward to for the next 4 years, even when he passed it on to Vice President Harris, Democrats didn't fare well. I look at it as the PBC election: prices, border, and culture. We lost on all three of those. And I think it's inherent and incumbent upon Democrats now to root for this president, to work with him where you can. I thought there was a great interview with Susie Wiles, I think in Axios today. I would urge everyone to read it, particularly Democrats who have to work with her and work with the president, and understand where there's room for disagreement. Let that disagreement be principled, let it be constructive, and where it has to be loud, let it be loud. But 4 years ago today, I did not think this is the day we'd be seeing. And the great thing about politics is all of us know, and Dana and Kayleigh in particular, having worked in the White House, is that everything is possible. Which is why it warms my heart to say I didn't think I'd be saying to Greg Gutfeld, a father, for the first time on January 6th,
You know what you said, which was
2025.
very interesting? Oh, there's something in there,
Okay.
trust me. He said, I don't care about Joe Biden anymore. That's the truth. It's like if you watch the movie, I watched a lot of movies when I was away. If you watch the movie Die Hard, you see John McClane beat Hans Gruber. Hans Gruber is dead. Imagine after the credits, you have a scene, a sobering look at how Gruber's family is dealing with the loss. That's Joe Biden. Nobody needs that scene. It was a big win. No one cares. No one wants to be in the loser's locker room. So go away.
I watched Top Gun, the original, for the very first time.
You had never seen Top Gun?
I'd never seen it, and I cried.
During the volleyball scene, didn't you?
Highway to
It was now. Can you cry as a man at Top Gun? I'm only asking the men. Kayleigh and Dana, stay out of this.
Did you use a straw?
All right, let's get to Kayleigh here. This is getting too interesting.
It is getting very interesting. Kayleigh's been so patient.
I just want to listen.
Go ahead. Tell us what you think about this very special day.
I think delusion is setting in the Biden White House. And I think you see that when his aides are telling people history will view him kindly. I actually believe in the rear view mirror. The Biden presidency is going to look very poor. And I believe that because the Wall Street Journal came out with this report, 50 sources. I mean, think about that, gathering 50 sources. That is an enormous number of sources they gathered. And what they find, the advanced aging was advanced early on, says that in the piece, early on. When you look at this, Chuck Schumer wants us to salute the president. Really? They said they were limiting the information that got to him, the people that got to him, canceling meetings early on. Adam Smith, who is the chair of the House Armed Services Committee, said, hey, I couldn't even get a hold of him with Afghanistan. I tried to call. I got an angry call from Tony Blinken and then an apologetic call from Biden. He said it was the only time he heard from him during the entire presidency. What was the nexus between national security failures and the mental acuity? I don't know that we'll ever know the answer, but I asked Tom Cotton, should they be preserving documents in the White House? And he said, it wouldn't be a bad idea to preserve documents on mental acuity because there's a lot we don't know, and I hope we get to the bottom of it. I think it's a massive scandal.
I can't.
Well, you heard that and you've seen that, and hopefully at this point, people just move on. Just move on. I feel the same way they do. I mean, I just want Joe to go away, straight up. Just go away, man. Stop making all these decisions. Stop trying to screw stuff up. Just go away, man. You lost, okay? And you were a piece of crap for the duration of your presidency. It was a full-fledged failure. Okay, you didn't do anything positive. I didn't see anything positive about you. And whatever little things you did do to try to be positive or try to shine, it was overshadowed with effery. Okay, so I have nothing positive to say about your presidency. I just want you to go away. Okay, go away. And I'm about to do the same thing. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Teddy Mack Show. And we will see you once again. Have a good night.